Wildcard on the defense, so they will be banning first. And what are your thoughts heading into this map, Dev? What are we going to see off the board?
So many options, really. We've seen, I mean, Wildcard in the past, they've banned all kinds of operators on defense. Nomad, I mean, it's so hard to call, right? I feel like this is a map where we're not going to be seeing operator bans which are specific for a team. I think it's about getting comfort in the comfort zone. Coastline isn't a map where you can really do as many hard bans. So, I mean, Nomad, okay. Let me just take a step back here. Fnatic banned Capitao so much. We're just seeing really basic stuff here. This isn't like a hard counter ban or anything like that. At least not in my interpretation yet.
No, we'll be heading into the defensive bans now. Echo off the board first, so relatively predictable there, and we'll probably have to expect a mirror ban or a Maestro ban to follow.
Oh, very sure ban there from Wildcard. Will it be something different? Oh. There you go. That's what I was waiting to see. From Wildcard, getting rid of the Valkyrie, kind of we iterated a little bit in the pre-show, talking about how aggressive a map Coastline can be for the defense, and that really is #1 spearheaded from those Valkyrie cameras. You get some cameras outside, you're defending a site like Hookah, runouts are insane. Even just the knowledge of where they're pushing gives you so much information. So whoever's defending will have to take that into account and bring some other information gathering operators to compensate for that.
That will be the case, as it looks like Wildcard will be heading to Blue Bar and Sunrise up first. So a little bit of an unorthodox pick there, possibly trying to throw Fnatic off on round #1 here. Yeah,
Coastline has always been the map where we see all of the bomb sites, but I think this is definitely the least favored bomb site, the least picked, and I agree with you. Probably just trying to try something different, throw them off as a starting point. The thing is, on Coastline, especially with Fnatic's lineup, you're bringing operators which are so versatile and you can use on any objective. So I'm not too worried. Now, we saw 87% of people favored Fnatic. You can actually get an in-game charm and outfit for Nomad and a gun skin. So I know I personally am rocking that Fnatic charm on a lot of my guns. So highly recommend you go and get that.
I guess it's unfortunate that Nomad's off the board, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
We're not going to see it in
irony.
action. Yeah.
Wildcard banned out the operator that Fnatic have the pilot skin on.
That's the only reason they banned it. No strategy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry for trying to read into it. I should have just gone with that. All right, let's take a look at this defense, though. Coastline is a map where you can roam very freely. Surely this isn't a commit to the spawn peak. No, it's just Ethan destroying a drone. Never underestimate how much that can really benefit the team late round.
Yeah, it looks like Wildcard opting to hold above here as well. Neofighter making a lot of melee holes here to make himself a little bit harder to hit, followed up with some bullet holes. So looks like he's going to commit above, Emo Rin alongside as well. So they will be droned out, but it's going to be difficult for Fnatic to push this if they aren't careful.
They are going to enter from Aquarium, though. Magna a bit zealous on that peak. He's got Rizraz here to push for him, but I don't know how much information Fnatic are gathering at the minute. Imorin still ready to back up his teammates. It is a collapse from Fnatic onto this top floor. They're really adamant that they want to get control of this pool, this hookah lounge, but Wildcard won't let him have it without a fight.
Yeah, Imorin under the pump here, getting fired from above by the looks of things, as well as the main window. He's tracked as well, so not an ideal scenario for him. He manages to retreat as Neofighter covers his cross. Goes for the shot, but misses initially. Unfortunately, he's actually getting lit up from another location, so he's now really low on HP here, and Fnatic should be able to just collapse onto him now.
Seems so unlikely that Neofighter gets a kill in this position. I'm surprised he's... Oh, okay. Prove me wrong then. Virtue goes down. That's one of the best fraggers in the game. And he finds a second as well against his former team. Neofighter steps up big, and now Wildcard have the advantage. They're going to go downstairs, play more passive.
Very sloppy there from Fnatic. Should have cleaned him up. He was so low on HP, but seemingly not aware of his exact location. Weren't able to capitalize. They do have control now, though. About halfway through the round as Lusty gets the first for Fnatic onto Neofighter, so he's finally off the board, but is it too late? Has the damage been done?
Neofighter absolutely dealt so much more damage than he received there. And just the Jaeger taken out, that's no such a big deal. Most of the soft breach from Fnatic has been disabled, as you can see the Buck and Jackal off the board, but they do still have breaching charges. Oh, Diesel needs to find this, and he gets Specker. A great job on the blue stairs. Rizraz wants to take that as well. This vertical play trying to dislodge the anchors, but Fnatic will have to get desperate. Lusty goes inside. The Hibana's a great operator in this position, but he needs to find another one. He's cornered, he spots out Diesel. Can he land that headshot? No, it just barely misses. Such an awkward position to be in.
Oh, Lusty so low on HP. Manages to dodge the C4 though, so played that very well. Diesel's still in that position at the bottom of Cool Vibes. Riz as well getting lit up on side as Lusty falls, and it's left all up to the gridlock to try and finish this one off. He does have the ACOG on his side, but doesn't really have much time on his hands, nor does he have the diffuser. He decides to push in towards blue here. Not really the most favourable gunfight, and there we go. He doesn't win it. Wildcard will successfully take round number 1.
Absolute patience on the Wildcard players as well. They started off on home turf, choosing to take us to Sunrise and Blue Bar. As you mentioned, guys, not the expected bomb site. Hook is what we usually see first, maybe a kitchen. And taking us to that off-meta bomb site, really, I think just established that they're here to stay. They're here to really take the fight to Fnatic. They're not just going to play the way that they always do and give Fnatic an easy read. That's something that we know Wildcard for, especially when they play against Fnatic. They do like to research their opponent really in depth and try new things.
Yeah, it seemed to work perfectly. Fnatic taking so long to get control above, and by that stage the damage really had been done and they were left with very few options late in the round. So, well played by Wildcard. But it's only one round in. Still plenty of play time to go as we head over to Hooga.
That's right. Next most favoured bomb site. You can see Diesel is on renovation duties, opening up a lot of the floor of the objective. All these default plant positions where Fnatic usually want to sit cozy. Wildcard will make it a little bit more difficult for them to plant in those spots as they'll be exposed to the holes from below. And it does look like Ethan will be roaming likely on this Mozzie. He's also opening holes in the blue bar wall. Typically this is so you can counter any kind of flank watch playing inside a blue bar as they're exposed to the lobby. So I like this. Wildcard, nice thorough setup. Of course, you need to walk the talk. You can't just have a good setup. You need to make sure that you've got the players when it matters. We've seen that so far from Wildcard. We'll see if it can continue.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Their setup does suggest that they want to be very aggressive, but their playstyle needs to match that. They need to have the confidence going into these gunfights. They would have established that in round number 1 as it was quite a convincing round win, but now they need to work hard to maintain this. We know that Fnatic can traditionally have slow starts, so if they can stop them from gaining that momentum, then they really have a fair chance of taking this map.
Yeah, Fnatic are absolutely a team that takes a bit to warm up, and once they do, they really start to make an impact and counter their opponents. We are seeing Fnatic start off with a bang though. Lusty gets that first pick. Neophyter shut down very early this time around. A bit too much aggression there, and Fnatic have already read into that by having someone watching the double window all the way from Ruins. Smart move from Fnatic. So much time still left for them to work with as well.
Yeah, it looks like they already have really nice control below the objective here. That's going to allow Magnet to throw some grenades above. The first one, it won't connect, but he does have another one spare if he decides to commit to that. Emo Rin, meanwhile, will drop Virtue off the board as Emo Rin also low. So, Wildcard looking okay at the moment. It's almost the halfway point of the round, and Fnatic just need to work a bit harder to convert this control. Oh, Riz manages to get a fantastic shot there onto Emo. He was low, but still a nice shot nonetheless as Magnet's still getting to work below. So it looks like Wildcard are just trying to hold them off here and just try and stop them from pushing really hard towards the site.
One by one looking for picks, and it's what's working for Fnatic. They've lost their smokes on the Jackal, however. Last round, Rizraz was running breaching charges, not smokes on the gridlock, so Fnatic may well be out of smokes. Magnet is trying to fight Diesel right now, but Diesel can fight back through these holes as well. You can see he's tempted to peek them, but he's so exposed right now. There's so many angles to worry about. A lot rests on Diesel here, but Ethan elsewhere on the roam is taken down. Really, we need to see something from Diesel and Derp, but Diesel's going to play very aggressive, perfectly read by Fnatic. Lusty finds that one. Derper has a tumultuous task ahead of him, and surely this doesn't happen.
Yeah, Lusty going for the plant. He will not be successful in getting the plant, but Spectre off screen will drop Derp. And there we go. Fnatic has now drawn the scoreline 1 apiece and looked a lot more confident in the roam clear on this occasion.
Perfectly reading into Wildcard's aggression as well. I've got to say, every time Wildcard tried something aggressive that round, it didn't work. Right from the start, Fnatic got that pick through the double window onto pool. That was Neophyter playing aggressive, trying to peek aggressively. Wildcard have thought to themselves, all right, we're coming up against Fnatic. We know they're a good team. We need to assert our dominance nice and early, get out, get a feel for it. And it worked in the first round. because Neophyter managed to land a few picks, but I think Fnatic really started to control the situation, say, hey guys, if you sit back and wait, they're going to feed us, so let's make that happen. We have so much time to work with, no need to rush the issue. And that also perfectly countered Diesel's aggression. As soon as his team was at a deficit, Diesel decided, I need to make a big play, try to kill some of the players in Aquarium. Fnatic didn't even let that happen for a second.
Yeah, we saw a lot of aggression from Diesel, particularly in the R6 Masters tournament. He tore up Fnatic on a couple of occasions with that aggression, so Fnatic seemingly a little bit more prepared for it, at least on that occasion, and it paid dividends in the end.
Yeah, dividends, $20,000 in first prize.
Good bank.
Yeah.
As we head to the kitchen bomb site now, what are we expecting, Dev? Do we think that this momentum is grown enough now for Fnatic to get away with it?
I'm actually starting to get a bit worried for Wildcard, but look, they don't. Recently, they haven't been picking this kitchen site as much. It hasn't been one of their favored, but historically, it was a really good site for them. They tried this, I call it open kitchen strategy, where they open up a lot of the wall inside of kitchen and they play a heavy roam so that they can really focus on just retaking and denying plant. But teams started to counter that, and I think Wildcard started to shy away from this bomb site a bit more. Recently, they've, I mean, it looks like after getting decimated on Hookah, they're going to try it. I'm still, you know, the jury's still out on this one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, from what I saw before, it looks like they are playing relatively heavy offside. Nothing too crazy, but it's enough to try and deter Fnatic, try and make them feel a little bit nervous as they enter towards the site. Yeah, so there we go. We've got Emo and Neophyter on this southern side of the map. Fnatic have decided to enter on the opposite side, so they'll feel safe for now, but there is still that unknown. They don't know where these players are yet until they drone them.
And banning the Nomad really does give Wildcard a little bit more of an option to go for these retakes, go for these late flanks, but Fnatic still have the gridlock to choke up these flank points, and they also just have good players who can be told, you sit, hold this angle, prevent anyone from peeking or pushing or flanking this opportunity, and then we don't have to worry about it. That's what Virtue's doing at the moment, pushing up through security. And Wildcard don't actually have a ton of map presence, so when Fnatic decide they want to go for the push, they very well could make it work.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Fnatic in a lot of strong positions here to cut off any sort of rotate that could come out from Wildcard late in the round. So they're going to be aware that they're probably going to go for the rotate, but it's not going to be successful. Ethan gets Magnet though, so that'll even it out just a little bit. Buck off the board as Rizraz peeks her into the top of the stairs. Ethan off the board as well, but he's quickly refragged, so WC in a position to potentially win this round, but Virtue is actually pushed down. Does he know Knee's down on the stairs? Yes, he does. He'll collect him as well for the double. And now it's Diesel and Derp left alone on the site.
There's so much time to work with as well. Diesel does prevent that default plant spot. He's waiting for Specker to peek, but Specker takes the pixel angle, a smart move. The shotgun can't win those. Derp once again in a position where he needs to step up. Specker is still alive. He's playing safe, playing smart, but he does get taken down eventually. Lusty is going to stick this plant, and now it's a 1 versus 2 for Derp. Already low on HP. You can see Lusty put a drone on Diffuser as well. Now Derp is in such an exposed position. That Diffuser is in the middle of a crossfire, and Virtue can clean up that one with the R4C. Fnatic absolutely reeling right now.
Yeah, Fnatic doing a fantastic job to sort of prepare themselves for that push. They were holding so many of the common rotates back to the site, so Wildcard's roam was basically nullified, and it forced them into very awkward positions, particularly the stairs there. Wildcard were just completely stacked there. Fnatic just came through, cleaned them up, and then they were able to go for the plant on towards the site.
It's really looking like Fnatic have countered the Wildcard playstyle already. You know, it didn't even take them that much time. It just took, I mean, it wasn't even one round, because the way that Wildcard won that first round, it wasn't by going for these flanks. But that's how they've tried to play the following 2 rounds. Fnatic have hard countered it. Always they've had players not necessarily getting super aggressive onto the roamers, not feeding the Wildcard players, giving them opportunities to take the gunfights that they want, but just waiting patiently. Fnatic, yes, they're the ones that have to make the move. They're the attackers. If the timer runs out, they lose. But they know Wildcard are twitchy. They're waiting. They don't have the patience right now. And I think that's something that Wildcard needs to realize. They need to stop falling into Fnatic's hands.
That is exactly right. And looking at the scoreboard so far, no real outliers to speak of so far. That'll probably exemplify itself later in the map. We are only 3 rounds in, of course, so not too many kills on either team. And we're going to see Neofighter going for another aggressive roam. So Neo seems to be very key for Wildcard at the moment. When he goes off and when he creates distractions for Fnatic, they have issues, but the previous 2 rounds, he seems to have been shut down quite easily, and that's had a flow-on effect for the remainder of the round.
Yeah, Neofighter has been... I mean, he had such an impactful play first round, but he's been struggling. Imorin droned out. Fnatic will likely cut him off. With multiple players there, he's likely not long for this world. Rizraz and Virtue. Virtue's died quite a few times on the opening, but he's still alive. And he stepped up in round 3. Imorin's started to get out of there. Probably a smart move.
Yeah, Imorin already pushed away from his position so easily, so quickly, only admitted into the round. So Fnatic just highlighting how strong they are at clearing these roamers now that they have momentum on their side. Virtue doing some droning as well. So it looks like all the Fnatic members are trying to gather intel here and trying to work out exactly where these roamers are. Sitting a couple over towards bedroom side as well. Magnet will give out that call to his team, and now it's going to be up to his teammates to try and hunt them down and cut off their rotate.
Yeah, once again, such a good start for Fnatic, and really that's half the round gone. If there's any redeeming factor for Wildcard, it's that there's no pick so far, but Fnatic have established these really strong positions. The question is this top floor presence from Wildcard going to be and enable them to retake VIP and have the necessary vertical angles that they'll need to deny plants inside of Kitchen? That's what was missing last round as they all got collapsed. Ooh, here's good information gathering from Wildcard. Virtue spotted. Now he's worried about playing this position. Gets caught in a leisure mine as well, and time's starting to tick away for Fnatic, and they don't have the leisure of those early picks that they did previously.
Yeah, only a minute to go on the board, and it looks like Spec is preparing to just run straight in towards just Kitchen site. Has the confidence in his shot, hopefully, to be able to pull this off. And it could well work. There's no one actually really watching that entry. Diesel basically left all alone. The other members of Wildcard seemingly playing for the retake. They do have the wall blown, as you can see, to the bottom of the screen. So that could work, but we saw that actually work against them in the previous round, so they're going to have to be mindful of that as well. As Diesel's starting to get aggressive. He hears them coming towards the site, but he doesn't know exactly where they are. And are they going for the plant? They don't know.
30 seconds left. Wildcard do have that vertical pressure. It's a great shot. 2 kills. What's that, Virtue? He absolutely disables Wildcard here. And there's only one left. It's Diesel. In a 1 versus 4, he's already found one, but he needs to effectively ace this, and he can't find it. Fnatic explode into action.
Yeah, these Fnatic attacks, they're dormant for a long time, and then bang! They're all around the site, pushing hard, and Virtue heading that one with a fantastic 2K.
Man, how does he land that shot? Oh,
I want whatever he's having.
Yeah,
what did
exactly.
he have for breakfast?
Yeah, geez, that was nuts. I mean, you find one of those kills, yeah, well played, nice flank. You find 2 of those kills. I was thinking about this the other day. You know, what is the recipe to a great pro player? People say, oh, you know, aim is more important than brain. Maybe some people say brain more important. You know, there's a debate. No, you need everything. There is no compromise. As soon as you compromise and someone is better at something than you will lose in some scenario. And Fnatic have really cherry-picked players that they think have it all.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen Specker do anything massive so far. Of course, the newest person to the Fnatic 5 core. But I'm sure he's playing his role. He seems to be getting quite aggressive alongside his members as well. So maybe we'll see him unleashed a little bit more later. For now, Virtue is being left to his own devices, and yeah, Virtue's just a beast, isn't he?
Yeah, man. He struggled on the first 2 rounds, though. He was actually the opening pick against Fnatic 2 rounds in a row. And then he started to step up. He got the Ashe at the same time. He switched off of the Jackal and got the Ashe. I wonder, is that something that plays into it? You know, as much as we meme about how Ashe is an amazing fragger, is it really the fact that Fnatic or Virtue was like, look, I'm not feeling it on Jackal right now. Let's switch Lusty over onto that. Now I'm going to take the Ashe. Is that something that made the difference? I mean, in terms of the operator lineups, it's also like Fnatic realized they don't need a hard breach because Lusty just abandoned the Hibana altogether.
Yeah, that could well be the case as Neofighter drops Magnet. This is the aggression that has been lacking in the last 3 rounds from Neofighter. He finally gets a kill on the roam, and that could well set them up well for the rest of round number 5 here. Neo holding this position inside of Hickory. He has Ethan to support him from below as well, using that pulse scanner. He'll be able to give out any call-outs to those on the balcony, as looks like he is coming under the pump a little bit, but Fnatic not really in any position at the moment to force him out of hookah.
Just waiting for picks. We can see Virtue peeking angles, just holding them, waiting for Wildcard to peek. It's going to take some time for Wildcard to really figure out exactly what kind of playstyle they need to adopt here, especially because of the way that Fnatic has adopted and countered that aggressive playstyle already. This was the only bomb site that Wildcard managed to win so far, however. And that Jackal really a hassle for Imorin, getting pushed further and further back. The more he moves, the more he's likely to be pushed into one of these Fnatic players holding the safe angles.
That's exactly right. As we see Specker clearing out above at the moment. Doesn't look like he'll encounter anyone, as he is all alone. Rizraz as well getting aggressive on the window. So Fnatic just trying to force them into unwinnable positions here, and Neophyter potentially in one of them. He actually gets away though, so Fnatic missing a pretty key frag there. Neophyter, one of the strongest players on the roster, able to just get away with a pretty sloppy play on his part. He was forced into a pretty dead corner and didn't pay for it.
Fnatic are so confident on these entries though. They really are just playing for entries, but Derpa does shut down Specker. Another one shut down. Virtue has to step up like he did last round. One more stun grenade in his pocket, and he can't even find the kill onto Derp, who gets in the game for once. Lusty, the last man. He has 5 players to find, and I don't really see this happening.
Yeah, pretty unwinnable position here for Lusty. He has 30 seconds on the board. He has the diffuser in hand, but good luck getting that down with 5 members of Wildcard staring you down. He makes his way into blue bar. 20 seconds on the board, and he actually gets pretty aggressive there onto Neophyter, who drops, but this plant going to be so challenging to get down. 7-second plant time, and he's going to fake it out, but no one's really there to put up a challenge. Eventually, Imorin will take him out, and Wildcard just creeping back into this one.
Yeah, cheeky little angle there for Emo as well. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we didn't get to see a lot of those frags, but I think one of the things that's making a difference for Wildcard is that they're feeling less, and I mean, we can only interpret this from the outside. We can't guarantee that this is exactly what they're thinking, but my interpretation is Wildcard earlier, they felt like they constantly needed to make a play. They felt twitchy, like they had to do something at all times, and Fnatic were just waiting for that to happen, waiting to tag them up. And this time around, Wildcard were kind of waiting for Fnatic, and the time whittled down. It helps when Neophyter gets a pick right in the first 30 seconds, but the time whittled down for Fnatic. They realize they're the ones who have to move, and some of the players on Wildcard started to, I think, get their confidence back. Holding these angles, waiting to get back in the game. Derpa is a player who's been really showing up for Wildcard in recent tournaments, and he wasn't popping up in the first couple rounds, and that round he finally got back into the game.
Yeah, Virtue as well there on the 6 frags. He wasn't very impactful in the last round, though, so unable to show up when required. Missing what would be, by his standards, a pretty easy shot. By that stage, the round possibly over anyway, but would be a little bit detrimental to his confidence. As we see, Derpe, he's going to open up blue bar once again. A common strategy here coming out from Wildcard to try and box him in there. Has been successful so far? Hard to say.
Yeah, I think that the real struggle that Wildcard have faced with this bomb site is, yeah, this setup on kitchen, opening up the kitchen wall. It's great for denying a plant if you have roamers that are not being cut off or pressured. But as soon as the enemy gets a plant down, then you cannot retake. And that means you have to, your roamers don't have a choice. They have to play aggressive to deny the plant. And that makes you a lot more predictable because your roamers have to do a certain thing. As soon as you have no choice but to do something, then you become a much easier team to read.
I do like what Wildcard are doing here, teaming up on the roam. Neophyter and Emo are in, running around, causing some issues here for Fnatic, and by pairing together, they're putting themselves in a really nice position to go for a refrag. So that's often what we see at Pro League level. Teams are really out here to go for refrags. It's going to increase your potential of winning the round. If you're able to quickly refrag a kill, someone might go down, but if their utility is already being used and they're refragged, it ultimately doesn't really matter.
And Fnatic are constantly looking for opportunities to get one free pick. You know, we isolate one player, we hold one angle, wait for a player to walk out. They're looking for picks, individual kills. They're not looking to hard push areas where Wildcard have multiple players. So the more that Wildcard stack up, I think that's the more that's going to really make Fnatic struggle. It's not how Fnatic want to be playing.
As we enter the midpoint of the round, Rizraz starting to get aggressive through Aquarium, does establish control. He's got a nice angle with the AGOG here. Going to be very challenging for Neo to win the fight, but he does! A fantastic shot from Neo in towards Aquarium. Magnet gets Ethan, as Emo Ring gets one as well. It's 2 versus 4. Virtua and Spectre, the 2 fraggers for Fnatic left on the board, but it's going to be such a challenging position to get in towards the site with these holes where they are. Spectre with the diffuser in hand. He's going to have to go for the plant, but 4 members of Wildcard ready and waiting. Man, look how passive they're playing, Dev. They're just waiting. 7 seconds, it's so long. They can just wait and then creep around the corner as the plant's going down.
Wildcard are just poised to play for plants tonight right now. If Fnatic wanted to try to get that diffuser down, it means it's basically a 1 versus 4 for that duration. Virtua can't land the shot that he needs this round. All on Spectre, the newest member of Fnatic. With everyone watching and waiting, holding their bated breath. He wants those picks, but there's no chance Wildcard's going to give it to him.
Yeah, 1 versus 4 scenario. Looking very, very unlikely as Wildcard continue to play ultra passive here off-site. They're just waiting for him to go into their lines of sight. They're not going to wide peek Spectre. That would be death. They're just going to hold the angle. Spectre gets down. He's going to try and self-res here and could actually successfully get it off, but he's only going to be on a couple of points of HP. 15 seconds left on the board, and he's going to have to get 4 kills with 1 shot of HP left. He's unsuccessful, and Wildcard take round number 6.
I'm actually really surprised. After such a dominant performance from Fnatic in rounds 2, 3, and 4, like we have seen Wildcard absolutely bounce back at the end of this half. And after all of that, Wildcard's defensive half ends an even split 3-3. To me, that's a really good spot to be right now, especially when it's... I thought for a red hot minute that Fnatic was looking so good on their attacks.
Yeah, I was looking at their stats for the R6 Masters final, in fact, and the final 2 maps where it was a little bit tighter, the first one was a bit of an outlier. If we look at the last 2 maps, only 25% of attacking rounds were won. So going 3 up in the half, 3-3 into the half, that already beats that stat, so that's a pretty favourable position to be in.
Yeah, that's true for, sorry, how many, was it defense that was only won 25% of the time? Or
it was attack.
Attack.
I think it was 27%.
Yeah, so that's pretty good for Fnatic then. You know, we got to give them commendations. Mind you, I think we're playing on a more balanced map, attacker defended, right? Like if you, I remember the 6 Masters, you know, Cafe. That's, there are a lot of defensive maps that we saw these guys play. I mean, maybe that'll change on map 2, right? Depends where we go next. Whether it's, you know, club, cafe. There's a lot of maps where we really should expect the defense to rack up some extra points on their half. But here, this tells me we're in for a full 12-round game. 3-3 here at the half. It shows that Fnatic is absolutely on their game today, but Wildcard is also not going down without a fight. To put this into perspective here, these teams are all fighting. Fnatic, Wildcard, and Oddity, who's currently on the top of the Pro League standings, are all fighting for those 2 spots at APAC Finals. 3 teams vying for 2 spots. That's, I mean, that's not going to end without somebody in tears. And at the moment, Wildcard is that team who's being left out.
Yeah, Wildcard, they're going to have to fight for their spot hard here, and that's all going to start here on round number 7. They will be attacking Bar, and quite an interesting setup coming out from Fnatic. The mirror as well on the board. We didn't see that from Wildcard, and there was a really interesting one here. Magnet, there we go, inside of Aquarium looking in towards the billiards. I don't think I've ever seen that mirror position before.
Where actually is the mirror window?
It's inside Aquarium looking towards billiards.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that either. I mean, I guess usually you'd be exposed to luggage, but he seems to not be worried. Also, he's got the castle barricade. Oh, hello! Rizraz! Ooh. What a shot! Good night, Neophyter. I'm not sure what happened there. I guess Neophyter tried to drone up, but the mute jammers prevented it. A really questionable play for Neo, but hey, I guess Wildcard will have to bounce back after that one.
Yeah, you can see what they're doing here. They're trying to stronghold this location. They've got control below and above so that they can protect that mirror position, which we were mentioning earlier, and so far it seems to be working.
Yeah, I just don't get why Wildcard aren't trying to hard counter some of the basic stuff. Like, it doesn't take much to just destroy that castle barricade. You know, they've got Hibana. She's not really going to use her utility elsewhere. You've got Ethan with 2 Ash charges still remaining. They're getting distracted looking for picks on some of these other anchors, and it's going to take a lot of investment to try and kill these players. Whereas even just destroying that castle barricade on Aquarium, makes Magnet have to watch that angle. Even if they're not, you know, fully committing and trying to take him out, it's something else that Magnet has to worry about. But they are absolutely setting their sights here on the player inside of blue bar. Oh, sorry, purple bar.
Yeah, but they don't have much time to play with now. Only a minute on the board, and Wildcard still really haven't countered any of the setup that Fnatic have established here. So it seems to have thrown them off guard, and they're really just trying to work out what's going on. It doesn't look like Wildcard have any confidence whatsoever. A pre-fire will come out from Ethan, won't connect. As the remaining members are sort of just holding angles at the moment and going in blind by the looks of things.
Diesel knows he needs to step up, especially now that Derp's gone down in kitchen. Ethan does find the first entry pick, but Diesel dies with the diffuser. Imarin does get a refrag. He finds two. It's a 2 versus 2 all of a sudden. Still 30 seconds to work with. 2 versus 1. Virtue needs to step up, and he could definitely deny this plant. How much information does he have? He rounds the corner. He doesn't know where that diffuser is, but he does find Imarin after it goes down. 1 versus 1. Ethan and Virtue.
Virtue will creep through the blue bar, trying to get up behind Ethan. Doesn't look like Ethan's actually heard him here, potentially. And with the ACOG at such close range, it's going to be such a hard gunfight to win. The flash comes out. Virtue dodges and goes for the shot, but he misses. And the flank's going to come out from Ethan. And he manages to get the shot at close range with the ACOG. A fantastic play in the end. And Wildcard out of nowhere will take that round.
How does that round go that way? After everything that was happening at the start, Wildcard struggling to find an initial pick, them being confronted with this strategy from Fnatic that they just weren't expecting. A strange mirror window, castle barricades, the hard hold aquarium. I mean, Wildcard from the get-go, they looked lost. And then all of a sudden...
Ooh.
That's a nice shot. All of a sudden, Wildcard absolutely turned it on.
Indeed they did, and now they actually have the lead. So how quickly things can change.
It's weird. You know how sometimes you just get a vibe of a game, of how it's going, you know, which team's in the lead? You know, not looking at the scoreboard. If you covered up the scoreboard right now and you said, which team is winning and by how much? I feel like this is like a 4-1, 4-2, you know, 5-1 maybe Fnatic.
Yeah.
That's just what it feels like with how the rounds have been playing out, how we've seen the dominance from Fnatic and their finesse as well. And yet, this is neck and neck with Wildcard currently ahead.
Yeah, a lot of the 50-50 rounds, particularly the ones where Fnatic have looked quite favourable, particularly like the last round, they're not converting, they're not finishing the job, and Wildcard are really capitalising on that. Whether or not it's, you know, the majority Fnatic's mistake, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. The scoreline, the points, it's still going the way of Wildcard. So at the end of the day, they've just got to play with what they presented.
Yeah, and when you have a round like that where it's won by Wildcard off of a clutch or you know, something that shouldn't have happened, then you'd think, okay, that means that Fnatic is going to be favoured in this round. Except, honestly, if I'm Wildcard right now, I want to see Fnatic going to retry this aquarium site because I have seen their strat and I know exactly how to counter that. Honestly, like it's... I mean, I don't know that it's a hard counter. I don't guarantee it'll work, but it's very easy. Once you see things like mirror windows and castle barricades, it makes it very obvious as to where the defenders are going to be playing, where they have to play to take advantage of that utility. And if they're not taking advantage of that utility, then you can take advantage of it and really manipulate the defenders as well. So we need to see Wildcard start to just hard countering some of these positions.
Yeah, they seem to just lack that positivity to go for those plays. As you mentioned, they're not overly complex, but...
Why aren't they just destroying that castle barricade on aquarium? There are so many things that they could be doing to try to counter this aquarium position, but instead they're getting absolutely fixated upon Rizraz here, who's very difficult to drone. Mind you, they have a decent strategy to try and take him out, but remember, he is still supported from above. Imarin's trying to make the entry. He does do a bit of damage, and the shotgun will finish the job. Diesel, however, did go down, so that's Hibana gone. And that's the obvious spot that they already knew about inside of aquarium as well.
Yeah, Virtue was able to easily down Diesel as he entered that pixel through the hatch, proving effective. The diffuser was dropped. Whether or not Virtue knows that or not, we're not quite sure, of course, with the Pro League HUD settings. He may have seen it dropped, and if that's the case, they're going to know now that Wildcards are going for this push through the southern side of the map, and they'll be able to adjust to that, and they should be able to hold blue bar quite efficiently, as there's not long in the round to go.
Yeah, what I don't get here is Wildcard, they haven't taken top floor yet. You have to take top floor. They can't go for a blue bar plant unless they do that. So now they'll start to make a rotation. Is Imarin going to try to rappel up? Derp's just on flank watch on the roof at the moment. It looks like Wildcard don't quite yet have a clear direction. They have 1 minute. This is really where they need to start making a decision.
Indeed, they do. Ring cooking a nade in towards blue. He faked it though, trying to use the sound cue to his advantage. He will actually eventually throw it, but an ADS will take it out. So Specker's able to just hold this position. And Specker in this position is definitely a dangerous prospect. He has the Commando in hand, such a powerful weapon, such a high rate of fire, and in the hands of a gunner like him, it's going to be hard to counter. It's Magnet as well with another high rate of fire weapon behind the bar. Ethan's going to have to be super vigilant here. He does have the G36C with the ACOG, so he has range on his side as Virtue drops derp off screen for the double. Ethan needs to try and secure this kill to get control of the bar, and Magnet's just going to quickly peek it. He misses the headshot. He connects with the neck by the looks of things as Ring goes in for the plant. Neofighter, he'll secure a double as Magnet eventually goes down the plant, almost being stuck here. Specker needs to try and deny it. The C4 goes out. They don't know where the plant's gone down. The intel, where is it?
There's nothing that Fnatic know. They don't have any information on what Wildcard are doing, and once again, Wildcard turn around on its head that shouldn't have gone their way. 3 versus 2 now, still doable for Fnatic, but Specker has to step up right here, right now. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. He can find one, but surely no more. 2 versus 1 against him. He can isolate these gunfights, though. How much information do Wildcard have? Specker, we know he's good in these gunfights, but what can he do?
It's not looking possible at this stage. The diffuser already so low in time. Specker makes his way in towards blue. Trying to connect these shots onto Neo. He'll eventually down him, but there's no time left. Rin will be able to sit outside. He cleans him up, and Wildcard will take round number 8. And another round going the way of the team in the unfavourable position.
Look, I hate to be a critic when what they're doing works, but I don't understand. Wildcard, that was crazy. Like, they didn't take top floor. They didn't even contest top floor. But Fnatic somehow didn't have enough information. And I wonder, is this because, you know, Echo's banned out, Valkyrie's banned out, 2 super key information gathering operators. They really, Fnatic have to be relying on Mozzie, Maestro, and Pulse. I mean, Lesion to some degree, but not really when it comes to, like, plant information. Pulse realistically can't get information on many plant spots. It's just his operator, his kit, you can't use the pulse scanner to really cover. There's nowhere safe you can use it. So it's really up to the Mozzie and the Maestro to be getting that information on the plant spots. And I think Wildcard, like, they're not bringing in IQ to find the Mozzie drones. So that's got to be a little bit of a gamble. It's pretty hard to find Mozzie drones because when they're not being used, they look just like normal drones. But the Maestro cameras, they must be hard countering using the Zephyr charges and the Buck grenades, the Ash charges. I'm just really dumbfounded that Fnatic was so low on information there, because that starvation of info completely led to Wildcard once again getting a cheese plan. Or I don't want to say cheese, a cheeky plan.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Specker was very, very close to the plan on that mid wall and had a C4 in his hand. All he had to do was throw it out. It would have been an easy denial.
And it was so telling when he turns around and he throws his C4 into the blue bar plant spot. Because that, you know what that tells us? That tells us Specker had no clue where that plant was going down. He just knew that something was happening. He knew that there was going to be a plant. And it's just so strange to see Fnatic that starve through information. Anyhow, they will try to go hookah, and in classic Fnatic fashion, they're going to try something a bit wacky. Put a mirror window, unreinforced, in service.
They've definitely spent a lot of time running around the map and finding cheeky mirror spots, haven't they? Because there have been some pretty weird ones tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, hats off to Wildcard. They're just going to play smart, hard counter that with a piece of utility. They have so much soft reach with the Ash Buck and Zephyr, I mean, even to some degree, Gridlock. But, man, Rin's really stepped up tonight. He finds the opening pick. Yes, there is a refrag, but, man, it's been such a good night for Emo.
Yeah, I think it's still a decent trade for Wildcard. We were just mentioning earlier the lack of intel for Fnatic, and there we go, Pulse off the board. Neofighter almost through the punch hole, manages to secure a kill. He's actually locked Lusty in place, but won't kill him as he crosses the door. So another kill goes begging for Wildcard.
But Specker is right on him. It's Rizraz actually, and Neofighter goes down. Perfectly done. That information being exchanged between the Fnatic players. Wildcard are actually on the back foot here with that diffuser being down inside of servers. A really good pick for Lusty to be able to get that diffuser down, and really it's fallen apart now for Wildcard. They've completely transitioned. They know Wildcard have to go for this diffuser. And Fnatic have the numbers advantage as well.
Yeah, it's left all up into the hands of Rin and Ethan to try and get this one back. They both have ACOGs on their guns, but whether that'll be enough, time will tell. They haven't got much in the way of time to work with. They do both have full HP, so that is advantageous, but the positions that Fnatic are going to be in now that they've had that opportunity to re-establish. It's so hard to counter, and it looks like they might be camping the diffuser as well here. There we go. Rizraz on the defuse. So, yikes. I would not want to be taking that on Lusty as well.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Yikes. Like, this is not a good spot to be in for Wildcard. And it looks like Wildcard can't even try to go for sight here because you see Fnatic just completely abandoned. It's like, well, Magnus like, oh, you drove me on sight. I'm just going to leave sight. 40 seconds. Fnatic can literally play hide and seek here. They have the diffuser. As long as they know that Wildcard don't, then they can just run around doing this. Ethan can try to go for this refrag. The flashbang's going to give his position away and flash himself. Oh, man. That's not great. Still, it looks to be a Fnatic round. There you go. So, Wildcard are put back again. I don't know, like, Fnatic are doing really well here on that round, but that doesn't prevent the fact that Wildcard are ahead currently.
Yeah, but we have seen multiple momentum swings this match, so maybe this will be now Fnatic will get, 2 or 3 rounds, and then that could potentially put them ahead. So, I mean,
that's actually true. Like, I hadn't really realized until you mentioned it with the momentum, but, Wildcard, they got round number 1, and then Fnatic went on a steal. But then 4 rounds in a row, we just saw from Wildcard, interrupted just now by that 1 round. So absolutely this has been a momentum-based game. And Fnatic aren't going to retry that bars objective, which is where they lost twice to clutches from Wildcard. So I've got some hope here for Fnatic moving on to a new objective. But to put things into perspective for Wildcard here, they are 3rd currently on the standings, so they're not in that APAC finals spot. We've got this 3-way tie, Fnatic, Wildcard, Oddity. And just to try and put into perspective the importance of this match, this could be the tiebreaker between these 2 teams. If these 2 teams end up on the same number of points, whoever wins one of these games, like if they draw both games, then, I mean, that's a bit tough. But if it's a draw on one map and a win on the other map for, say, Wildcard, that means Wildcard wins that head-to-head battle if these 2 teams start on the same number, end on the same number of points. This match is so important because it's incredibly likely that these teams are going to be neck and neck come the end of the season. And this match will be the one that gets one of these teams a leg up over the other.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A lot on for stake here as both teams will be trying their absolute hardest. And I think it's been pretty evident that Fnatic, so often we say, oh, they're saving strats, whatever, but I feel like the way they've approached this map in particular, they've brought out a lot of stuff we haven't seen before. So that gives an indication to me that they're really trying for this. They need this.
I mean, Fnatic can definitely be not at APAC finals. That is totally on the cards here. If Fnatic lose both of their games here to Wildcard, then them making it to APAC finals is actually out of their hands. Like, they do have a match on Thursday where they'll have to win 2-0 against Sinister to even really have a shot. But it's out of their hands. Wildcard and Oddity, if they win their own respective games on Thursday, Fnatic won't make it. If Wildcard wins both of these matches here, that's what really Wildcard want to guarantee.
There we go, Ethan popping the first of his E1Ds on the line. We haven't seen a lot of line action really recently, but it looks like Wildcard have opted for that. Trying to nullify any of the roam that could be coming out from Fnatic here, as their operator selections would really suggest that they are. They've got the Vigil, the Mozzie, even Legion to a certain extent. So Wildcard trying to nullify that, and seems to be working so far. They haven't been picked off yet.
Yeah, both of these teams played super roam heavy on the defense, and Fnatic countered that with a Jackal. Wildcard's approach is slightly different. But it seems to be working still. Wait, this is just a headlong into sight. Diesel could very well get this plant down. He holds his breath as he holds down the diffuser, but it looks like Wildcard's going to make it work. A lion charge isn't even needed. And now it'll have to be a retake. Magnet pushes on in. What's that? Hello? He just takes down Imarin, but he's the last one left, tracked by the lion charge. 1 versus 4. Wildcard get their 6 points. Minimum a draw in this game. They are so close to earning their 3 points and getting a head-to-head advantage over Fnatic.
If Fnatic weren't sweating it before, they have to be sweating now, surely. This is way too close for their liking.
If Wildcard wins... okay, let's assume that Fnatic, Wildcard, and Oddity all win their games on Thursday. If Wildcard draws 1 and wins 1, then they make APAC finals. If they win both here against Fnatic, then they make APAC finals. If Fnatic lose both of these games, we might not be seeing the APAC team at APAC Finals, or Japan, Tokoname, we might not even be seeing them at 6 Invitational. They're going to have to play through the open qualifier in order to get there. Imagine that. The Fnatic playing through an open online qualifier to play at a tiny little LAN event against the best Asian teams to try to get to 6 Invitational 2020. One of the most prestigious organizations in all of esports. And they have to win against these underdogs here. They have no choice.
Wow, definitely feeling the pressure at the moment, surely. And we will be heading to Blue Bar once again. So Fnatic, although they've lost it twice, apparently have the confidence to go there. But I'm reaping that they haven't brought the Maestro. Where is the Intel dev?
Yeah.
Where is it?
I mean, you're very true on the Intel front, but one thing I will say for Fnatic is they are bringing the smoke now. Smoke's an operator where if you don't know for sure that they're planting, but you have an inkling, you can just give yourself an extra 10 seconds. So let's say they think that they're going to be planting Blue Bar. Instead of wasting your C4, toss the smoke over, detonate it, you get yourself a free 10 seconds. You can do the same with the other Sunrise plant spots. So I like the idea from Fnatic. It's kind of a bit of a departure from what we were talking about where they need more information. But it's a bit more it's a bit more difficult for Wildcard to counter, right? Wildcard can go and find those Maestro cameras and destroy them, but it's much more difficult to counter the throwing of the smoke babes. So I don't want to count out Fnatic just yet. They're 2 rounds away from tying this up, which does keep them seriously in the running for an APAC final spot.
Yeah, we can't understate how much pressure Wildcard as well are going to be under pressure here. Although they're in the lead and they have secured at least 1 point, they want to close this out. They're going to start feeling the jitters a little bit, have a little bit of a doubt in their mind. Can we finish this off? Can we get full points? They just need to focus here and take a deep breath. Just go through their systems, go through their procedures that we've seen them go through so far tonight. Just be clean about it. We are a minute into the round, no frags on either side, so both teams just feeling it out and taking their time. We have seen that sort of theme develop quite a bit over the course of this map. Both teams taking their time. Neofighter, though, tries to get aggressive in towards the bar here. He won't connect the shot. Ethan as well getting aggressive. All members of Wildcard here just trying to suss out where these Fnatic members could be. I want to see a bit more droning, though. They don't know where they are so far.
Yeah, that's half the round gone as well. Fnatic are continuing to play almost the same thing, and they do get the first pick in this round. Derpa goes down. With Wildcard, with the timer running low, and Fnatic bringing that smoke, which is really just an effective 30 seconds, things are looking pretty good for Fnatic. Wildcard do have to take this top floor. They didn't previously, but surely they're keen to take this top floor. Fnatic have exchanged out the castle that they took previously on this bomb site. Remember, the 2 victories Wildcard have on this site were both clutches.
Minute to go in the round, and Emo Room will even it up, dropping Rizraz off the board. So that position inside of Office now has been nullified, and that's going to allow Wildcard to establish a bit more pressure on that side of the map. But when it comes to the B-bomb side, we have Magnet and Spec are both strong-holding pretty unusual positions, particularly the one that Magnet's on the close right here of Ethan. And you don't want to be taking that on with an ACOG, not going to be a percentage play. So he's going to have to be very careful here as Neofighter as well getting aggressive. Neofighter's been on this window for so long, and he hasn't had impact yet. He almost saw the head there of Specker, but he looks away just at the wrong time. And 30 seconds to go. They need to get something going now. They need to start pushing in towards this blue bar where they have control. Emo Ring gets Magnet off the board, secures his double, but he is going to get stopped by Elysian Mine there. Not much time left. They need to get something working.
20 seconds. It'll be a desperate attempt from Diesel, but it doesn't work. That's Diffuser on the ground. Fnatic in the driver's seat here. Imarin knows blue bar was clear, but he has to make a serious impact on this entry. Neofighter as well. He's the last one. Surely Ethan can do something about this. He finds the 1 kill, but 2 seconds to go. Fnatic aren't going to give him a damn thing, and they do stay in the game. Fnatic 1 round away from tying us up.
Fnatic finally able to get that bomb site working for them. They were able to delay Wildcard a long time there. So many members of the Wildcard lineup holding the same position for very prolonged durations there. And they weren't able to really force Fnatic out of the positions that they had established. And they were really powerful ones. They, particularly, I think, Magnet, they're holding in towards the orange bar there. That really threw them off, as well as Specker behind the main bar. So yeah,
it was so hard for Wildcard.
Sorry, it was a lot cleaner than their previous 2 losses, I think. Yeah,
I mean, for sure. Like, Fnatic probably shouldn't have lost either of their previous 2 defenses on bar. And it was only some minor changes from Fnatic that really made the difference. Interestingly enough, it was a departure from their more rigid strategy of the castle and the mirrors that actually helped them in the end. playing more default, I guess you would say. Wildcard, despite them being able to get that control of office and really open up into blue bar, they completely droned out blue bar, knew that it was clear, but you can't plant in there because you're completely exposed to lobby, you're completely exposed to the kitchen hallway, even holes above, and even potentially in Sunrise as well. So there's so many angles you're exposed to, and Fnatic, I mean, they realized that. They realized, okay, these guys can't dedicate to blue bar. What we need to do is stack in Sunrise bar, and they did. Magnet and Spectre both, and Wildcard not being able to take out those players is really what I think harmed them at the end of that round. But this is our final round of the game here.
10 seconds remaining.
This is where it all comes down to between these two teams, and it's going to be a hookah defense for Fnatic. It's the most meta bomb site right now. This is going to be some staple siege. I want to know how these teams twist it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's only two outcomes. It's either going to be a draw or it's going to be a win to Wildcard. In the next 3 minutes, we're going to find out which way that's going to go. Lusty, once again, playing this unorthodox mirror, probably going to get taken out pretty quickly. Neophyte's going to have to be careful that he doesn't land the shot. He's getting super aggressive on that peak. Jeez, Lusty probably could have gotten the kill because he wasn't even peeking the side of the mirror. He was actually wide peeking at Neo. So interesting decision there. He's going to try and destroy it. And the
clever
ADS device there inside a service is actually going to deny that.
Clever, just a little cheeky little ADS, and that pre-fire takes down Neophyter. That was far too distracted, wasn't it? Fnatic made a tiny adaptation, one tiny little trophy system, and that made the difference and allowed Lusty to get a kill. So clever, but Derped does eventually get that refrag. It might be too little too late though. Wildcard know that they really need to win this game. There is no stopping right now for either of these teams. They are both desperate. Map1 has been, so far, such a contest, but the writing's not yet written on the wall. We have such a close game. Wildcard are desperate for this win, despite losing that man early.
4v4 scenario as we enter the halfway point of the round. Diesel finally having established control of service, but he's going to give that up as he makes his way across to the rest of his teammates here. I'm trying to work out what sort of attack they're setting up for here. It looks like Emo Rin, the top fragger currently for Wildcard, will be establishing below, trying to get a nade kill. The first one will be unsuccessful, but could put Fnatic under a little bit of the pump. And Fnatic, they're holding some weird spots, Dev.
They're just sitting on site in weird positions, as you said. One good thing about playing unpredictable positions is it really nullifies the buck below. Emo Rin does have a lot of ammunition to utilize a skeleton key. He's not popping this mirror, interestingly enough. I think he's really cautious of that blue stairs flank, but time is ticking away. We know Wildcard, they have had success pushing last minute on bar, but Hookah is a completely different kettle of fish here. They need to start making some meaningful progress. Start preparing that execute. These smoke grenades will help, but we know Fnatic are going to be good in these final moments. But Emo Rin does find that kill onto Rizraz through the floor. This is totally doable here for Wildcard with 35 seconds left.
Definitely a winnable position, but Virtue's having none of it. Ethan dropped off the board, and it's now a 3 versus 3 scenario. 30 seconds on the board, and this really could go either way. It's going to come down to who's more efficient with their utility usage, who has the better communication. Diesel has the diffuser in hand. He's going to be aided by Emo Rin holding the cross. Derpay makes his way in towards the side as Diesel will try and get the plant down, but no! Emo Rin dropped on the stairs, and it's all up to Diesel to try and get the plant as Virtue. He's trying to make his way over to deny it. The wall there will cover his position on the plant. 2 seconds to go. And there we go. The plant is down. Virtue now needs to hit a 1 versus 3. He gets the first, the down player on Cool Vibes. Secures his double, but he's going to need a 4K to win this one, Dev.
And he doesn't have info on where that plant went down. He's going to try to bait out shots from Diesel, but Diesel so patient on the trigger finger. He spots him. What a great shot for Virtue. It's a 1 versus 1. All on Derpay for the game here. Otherwise, you're sending home 2 points. Virtue has to clutch it. We know he wins these. Surely he wins these. But time's ticking away. He sees the feet. Can he land enough shots? No, Derpay! Oh. He finishes him off! How does that happen, Virtue? A 1 versus 3 clutch. And there's just enough time to get the counter defuse. We see a draw between Fnatic and Wildcard. After 12 rigorous rounds, they pull through just enough.
That is one of the best clutches I have seen, not only for the clutch itself, but the context in which it took place. That was crazy.
Virtue 16 kills, Emo Rin 15 kills. This was a game where we saw players on either team dragging and dragging everything that they could possibly find